Oh, I'm sorry. Is this a Schmoedown recap show and not a French beach?
Let's go, girls. Come on.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Take 3's Schmoedown Reactor Summit. I am, of course, your interim host, Matthew Kearns, until Kristen Smith gets back. Which, by the way, I want to take a second here on this episode to congratulate her and John Smith on the birth of Cara Smith, the newest little Take 3 member. Just a little round of applause for you guys. We have a future Mark Riley fan amongst us. I'm going to make it true. Yes, congrats to both of you. But now on to the Schmoedown. I got a great panel to talk about title week. I have, of course, as usual here, Malcolm Lay. How are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Just ready to talk about these exciting matches. And I'll promise to keep my shirt on.
Stole my gag.
All right, let's go to the guy who is definitely not an original here, according to himself. Jeremy, how are you doing? Would you like to make Malcolm's joke?
I'm just going to say that I'm happy to be on here. I'm not going to plug that some lucky schmoo named, can't remember his name, JTE, might have helped Mark Andreyko get a championship match. We're not going to talk about that. Let's just get into this great title week on Schmoedown.
Whoa, are you stealing Chris Alzaco's possible hot takes segment here on the summit?
No.
Okay, we also have Hunter. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh man, I'm good. Thank you for inviting me back on, and I'm ready to talk about Championship Week. It was a great week in the Schmoedown, so let's talk about it.
Yes, it was a great week, and a weird one concerning the fact that this is the first time in the Clarke era we've ever had a title week that does not have a title defense happening. We have two vacant championship spots right now. Yeah, that I don't think we really need. We already discussed that, of course, when Sam Levine retired. But boy, it was just so odd this week. Did not have a champ coming out with the belt. But regardless, let's just get into the first match of the week, which was, of course, the singles title belt match, which was also a rematch. We had William the Beast Bibbiani taking on Mark the Android and Draco. Of course, this is the rematch. Their first match, of course, might be the greatest debuting match in which both competitors were making their debuts. I remember saying that one of them was going to be the champ, and, well, look at that. Look at that. Looks like I was right. Of course, we have to talk about Mark and Draco, him and the Fife Club. They had a very simple entrance. I finding that is Mark and Draco's thing. He likes to just have normal entrances. Like, he comes out to his music exit. William Bibbiani, boyo, is he just kind of setting himself up to win the award for best entrance on 2 occasions? Of course, I think my favorite thing is people who don't know what Mystery Science Theater 3000 is, and we're watching that, and we're just completely confused. Look it up if you don't know what it is. As a fan of that myself, I was dying laughing during the entire... And I kind of just wanted them to keep going, being honest. I didn't even care about the match at that point. I had no dog in this game anyway, so I was just like, no, just go. Just keep going. That was fantastic, but let's get into round 1, of course. Round 1 of this title match was fine. Like, it ended with them tied at 5, of course. We didn't have any perfect rounds. It wasn't really a shutout for one person. It was kind of just, Again, this is coming from me. Either one of these guys would have buried me in this match. So, William Bibbiani, Mark and Draco, if you're watching this, when I say that, please don't attack me, because I'm afraid of both of you. You're both very intimidating people with trivia. But let's move into round 2. Round 2, William Bibbiani spins first. At first, he lands on 90s movies, but then he chooses to spin away. I've just been noticing recently, for whatever reason, even though pretty much every single person competing in the Schmoedown right now was well alive and watching movies in the 90s, people spin away from the 90s fairly often. I don't know why. He ends up with musicals. He has a fine round 2. He walks away with 4 points. Mark was able to steal 3 points. He was able to steal 1 multiple choice and a 2-pointer. Mark and Draco spins. He sticks with monster movies, which is a strength for William Bibbiani's, of course. I mean, they don't call you the Beast, and your strength is not monster movies. So I was a little afraid for him because I was like, ooh, because you run those issues when you take someone else's strength that if you miss, there's like a big percentage that they're going to hit it. However, Bibbiani was only able to steal 2 points. Mark ends the round gaining 5 points, and the round ends 13-11 in Mark and Draco's favor. We move on to the betting round. The category that was spun by Draco was opponent's choice. Bibbiani chooses classics. Mark and Draco loses 1 point. Bibbiani loses 2 points. The round ends 12-9. We move into the buzzer round. Listen, we've seen on Twitter the Fife Club. They have been practicing with the buzzers. This shows Bibbiani didn't get like a chance to hit the buzzer. Mark and Draco did lose a point here and there, but the fact of the matter is that Bibbiani did not get a chance to answer any questions. The round ends still 13-9. I'm sorry. It ends 13-9. I forgot he gained a point in Mark's favor. We move on to the final round. Mark and Draco hits his 2 and 3-pointer, which forces William Bibbiani, who had already hit his 2 and 3-pointer, to have to answer his 5-pointer. He hits it. Mark and Draco misses his 5-pointer, and William Bibbiani is now the new singles champion. We all know no one here at Take 3 cares. Like, it's...
No one.
No one cares.
No one.
No one cares. No one cares. Nah, I'm kidding. Of course, we all join the club, Clarke, of your favorite competitor being singles champ. Although, I will say, as a Mark Riley fan, to be a true champ, you must defend the belt. Am I saying that to any Roka fans out there? You bet I am. I hope you're watching, John. Of course, post-match interviews. Bibbiani, he's excited, of course. He's looking forward to who he's going to take on next. Mark and Draco. The Fight Club are always very good at being very humble in their losses. But going through and doing prepping for the summit as I do, I realized something. Pretty much every round, except for round 1, which was a tie, it was in Draco's favor. I think this match is a big example of how unpredictable the Schmoedown is. I just want to real fast, just a fun talking point is kind of like, when you really look at it on paper, which I'm literally looking at on paper, it's round 2 ends in favor of Mark. Round 3 ends in favor of Mark. Round 4 in favor of Mark. It's one question away. I'll go to you first, Malcolm. Do you like that part of the Schmoedown, or do you feel bad for the competitors like an Draco who pretty much dominate the entire match, and then it's just missing a 5-pointer loses them the game? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, like I've said this, a lot of people like you never know what can happen in the Schmoedown, because and we'll definitely get to it when it comes to this the Shirewolves match. But I mean, it's one of those ones that you never really know. The third round that last round is pretty much can be what decides it if it ends up like that. Because like as I think Mark said in the interview, he just completely blanked on Scott Kearns. What cemented it for him.
If I'm being completely honest, I never heard of that movie until that question. I was like, what is this? Jeremy, excuse me, you're a big reactor. Maybe you have taken notice about this, but what are your thoughts on this match being sort of a showing how unpredictable and how, sad the final round of a match can be sometimes?
It was hard for me, obviously, because I had rooting interest in both. So, on one hand, I was happy for Bibbiani to get to finally get the title. At the same time, I did feel for Mark, because I was in the same boat as him. I knew David Arquette was in Ready to Rumble and blanked on the other guy. So I actually, when he said Sean William Scott, I actually thought he was right, and I thought he had won. And then when I hear William the Beast Bibbiani is the new champion, it kind of tore me a little bit. But it's just the unpredictability. I mean, some of the things were self-inflicted from Mark. Obviously, the Bub thing, whether or not it was the fact that he jumped the gun or not, maybe he always thought that was the answer. So we may never know with that. But just the mere fact that not only he lost, but he lost giving answers that were so close to being the correct answer, kind of makes it a little bit harder and just kind of bittersweet. But at the same time, I feel that the winner was deserved. Bibbiani obviously deserves to be the champion. He's come a long way, come through some heartbreaking moments himself. I mean, you talk about unpredictability. William Bibbiani could easily be 7-1, but he's not. He's 5-4, and it's just the way of Schmoedown, as you said.
Also, by the way, talking about that, Christian, I love you, but I saw you dig. Say during the Bud question, the repeat, I heard it. I saw the dig. Didn't like it. Let's move on to Hunter. Hunter, what are your thoughts on the unpredictability of the Schmoedown?
Well, that's the one thing I like about the Schmoedown is that you never know what's going to happen. You go to each match, you may have a favorite, but then as Andrew Guy and Dan Merle showed, anything can happen when you sit down and play trivia. I just like how when you sit down, you're like, oh, this guy's clearly going to win because this and this. And then you have a comeback or the underdog comes back and win. That's something that happens in wrestling a lot, where the underdog comes back and wins. And it's a really good moment. And that's what they try to have in the Schmoedown with the storylines, with the comebacks, with the unpredictability. And that's what makes it so fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's get into a little discussion about, of course, congratulating our new champ, William Bibbiani. We'll probably get more in depth in this conversation when we see how the singles tournament is playing out. But as of right now, with some of the competitors who we know are going to be in the tournament, which there are a few who we can pretty much guarantee are going to be in there, how do we see Bib's chances of holding on to this belt shaping up? I mean, of course, the tournament can change everything, but as of right now, Jeremy, I'm going to go to you first. What were your thoughts on Bib's longevity as the champ?
Well, I mean, just by his overall knowledge, I think he'll always be a favorite, regardless of who he's going to end up playing. As long as he's the champion, it eliminates the problem of the round 3 situation that he's had, because obviously it's not going to be the be-all, end-all of him losing or not. When he loses the belt, we'll come back to that bridge when we come to it. So what we've learned so far, he still has crappy round 3s, but he can have perfect round 5s, and as long as you're the champion, well, you're gonna be all right if you keep getting 10 points in the final round. So I'm really curious as to who can potentially come out on top in the tournament. Obviously, we don't know everybody who's going to be in it, but we know quite a few people that probably will. And I'm really interested with a lot of the matchups, because we could have some potentially really interesting rematches when it comes to Bibbs, or we could get some potential dream matches that we've been hoping for a very long time. But Bibbiani, I think he can be a really good champion, simply because his overall knowledge, is one of the best. And as long as you know everything that's put in front of you, you always got a chance to come out on top.
Hunter, I'm gonna go to you. Same question. Longevity of Bibbs. Is he gonna be as good as Mark Riley? Is really what I'm getting at here.
I don't know about that, but I agree with JTH when I say that Bibbs' overall knowledge is what's going to help him. The main problem he's going to have is, can he continuously have a great round 5, which is the 2-3-5 round, which we know it's normally not his best, but the championship match he came to play and he showed that maybe he's going in a new direction where maybe that's not his weakness anymore. And if that's the case, then that makes the Beast even more stronger.
Yeah. Malcolm, what are your thoughts on what I'm calling this segment, which is let's all just piss off Clarke?
Well, I mean, I think Bibbs can go far as a champion, but I mean, he may not even be champion when it comes to the tournament. He might actually be in the tournament himself, but he's got to go through either Roker, Riley, Guy, or Bateman's first, depending on who wins those two matchups. We could see Team Action Civil War, Ben versus Drew for a chance at the belt. So I mean, like he might do, like he could actually be in the tournament himself, because as former champion, he will deserve being there. So I mean, there's lots of things that could happen.
Yeah, see, I kind of forgot because they really don't update us on stuff like that. I kind of forgot that was, yeah. Kind of
Well, they seem to match, so.
That's my own fault. Well,
Hurry, take notes.
honestly, listen, Clarke, I like you. Bibbs, you followed me on Twitter today. I like you, but the man with the greatest hair in the Schmoedown is back. Not gonna be long before he's 3-time champ. And you all know I'm gonna bask in glory of watching Clarke scream and cry on the reaction when I watch my favorite competitor take his belt rightfully back. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Now let's move in to the next title match of Championship Week, which was, of course, the team title. Of course, that is Shirewolves versus Team Brienne and TBD. Now, of course, we got a name which was Sick in the Head. The first thing I gotta say is, this could just be me, but during the smack talk, Brienne, which, by the way, Brienne, a woman after my heart, she sung After Today from a Goofy movie, which is one of my favorite Disney songs of all time. William Bibbiani was singing there too. Am I the only one who thought that was them saying that Bibbs was her partner? Am I the only person on here who thought that's what they were doing?
No, you were not.
I swore. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, ooh, that's actually a pretty good team up. I just had to get that out there because I was like, oh, okay. That's an interesting way to do. Like, when he first started singing, I thought he was going to come out. But then I was like, okay. But of course, Bibbiani was not her partner. Her partner was Brian Bishop, who I have no idea who Brian Bishop is, but he apparently did a podcast that Brianne Chandler was on. Did anyone else know who Brian Bishop was before this match?
I didn't.
No. I mean, during the introductions, that Beat the Geeks was mentioned again, so...
Yeah, what is this Beat the Geeks?
I have no idea.
I get they're really just farming Schmoedown compared. I mean, listen, and that's no offense to you, Brian. I'm just like, who was he? But of course, now he's a part of Team Sick in the Head, which, by the way, Brian did have a really funny line when he was talking about what they originally were going to call the team, which was Beauty, Bolden, and the Beast. And Brian was like, I don't really feel good about being called Beauty. He was like, why do you think I'm talking about you? I was like, that's a me line. If you watch The Summit, okay, you know, I would probably say those things. So, Brian, you know, if you're ever looking for a comedian partner, you know, I'm right here. But also, let's give it up to Shirewolves for killing it with that entrance. I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, and I still liked the entrance, so good work.
Wait,
yeah, that's
what?
right, people. No, I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, all right? DC
Yeah,
forever.
Dude, this show is over. We cannot
Oh,
still-
is it? Is it, Abe? You can leave. Just keep the recording going. That's all I ask for.
Oh my.
Oh, I'm so sorry. For Ragnarok. You know why? Because the first Thor movie
Man,
was
hard.
fine.
Brother.
The first Thor movie was fine, and the second one is like terrible. And so I was
Dude,
like, oh yeah, I'm
let's
pretty
not-
sure that
let's
this
not-
third one's gonna be amazing.
No,
And then apparently a lot of people
You know,
are
I'm not
actually
cutting
really.
anything, so just keep talking about what you were talking about.
Yeah, let's go back to the Schmoedown. All right. So, still great entrance, guys. Oh, the comments. They're gonna be fun on this one. So, the Shirewolves have a commanding round. While sick, in the head, they do play a good round. The round ends 13-9 in favor of the Shirewolves. We move on to round 2. Sick in the head spins first. Brienne hits dance movies. But after a small discussion with Brian, spins away. And I want to bring this up now. In team matches, what are your guys' thoughts on Brian hit a straight? It is a straight we've seen when she has gotten it before. She has performed extremely well. Spinning away from it when your teammate doesn't feel that strong in it. Do you guys think this is a good strategy, or should they have been like, "Hey, Brienne, that's your strength. Go and kill it. You do it." Hunter, I'm going to go to you first.
I mean, it really depends. Because I do like what Brian said at the end of the match, which was he doesn't know anything about dance movies, and I was going to make it about the team, not just me. And I like the way how she's thinking about the team over herself. Now, if you look at it, if he was okay with dance, not good, but Brienne was great at it, then yeah, they could come together and help each other out. But at this point, it is a team, and if you have two people who are on the same strength, they can work off each other better than if only it's on relying on Brienne to carry the team in round 2.
Yeah, I'm thinking along your thought process there, but I'll give my thoughts after the other two panelists go. So, Malcolm, what are your thoughts on this strategy?
Yeah. I mean, Hunter pretty much said it. Like, if Brian had knew something about dance movies, he might have said, look, I know a little bit. I might be able to help out at some stage, but it's one of those things when it's team match. You don't want to seem like you're being so dominant, like what the evil Kalinowski did when it came to James Bond, like it took it and just like literally it was a one-sided on that team, and just showed off his knowledge of James Bond over at him just sitting there looking pretty. But I mean on the other side of things, like as we saw with the Shirewolves, is like with horror. Rachel must know a little bit about horror to be able to help out Clarke if they're not sure about the answers. Just kind of looks better in a way.
I stopped listening to everything after evil Kalinowski. I mean, that's your opinion, but I mean, I think you should be a little bit more thankful, Malcolm. But, you know, that's just me. Sheep. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I kind of agree with everybody here. I mean, if Brian had known a little bit, you could have that safety net of, okay, if Brienne doesn't know a certain question, then, you know, you can have Brian to back up on. But the fact that he had, like, no knowledge at all, like, if then Brienne gets the mindset, if there's a question that I don't know, we're screwed, especially considering at that point they needed points. They needed to get as many points as they could. So having knowledge from both of them is much more, you know, valuable than having knowledge from just one in particular player. Dance movies also can be a little niche, especially if you haven't seen every single dance movie out there. like I'm not big on dance moves myself. The epitome of that was in the match with Makuga and Stacey Howard, where Makuga gave the same answer for 3 of the 4 questions, and the third time he gave that answer was the right answer.
It was the right
I think that's the epitome of what dance movies is as a category. But I mean, directors. I mean, he showed that he had some knowledge with directors. I think he got one in round 1 earlier, and he got one in the speed round. So it was definitely a category that he was much more knowledgeable in. So ultimately, it didn't work out. So they kind of have that as a scapegoat. But honestly, it probably would not have mattered, obviously, with how the Shirewolves played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, guys. You know, when you're in the Schmoedown, you know, sometimes, you know, you just gotta be a little footloose. You gotta just do some dirty dancing, you know, and you gotta step it up in round 2. You gotta step it up to the
my god!
in round 2. Okay?
Do you have to stand at the center stage?
Yeah, if you want fame.
I'm trying to think if you can get a pun that can go into a High School Musical. Do that?
Yeah, guys, we gotta get our head in the game.
End
all
game.
right? Get back to this.
Those are just flash dance bits.
I gotta get my head in the game, guys. Get
We're
my head in
already
the
off
game.
the rails.
What? Shut up. This is my show. This is my summit. All right. Now cut footloose, footloose. Everybody cut footloose.
Oh my god!
I couldn't
Now,
pass it up. I couldn't pass it up. I couldn't pass it up. But I agree with you guys. I think when you're in a team match, you need to play to the strengths of the team. And of course, you know, Malcolm brought up the DC versus action. You know, Mike is someone who knows Bond very well. And that was a lucky scenario where he kind of was able to hit everything. But if you get a snag in one of your strengths, and your partner doesn't know anything, then you're in trouble. And I think that's why Graham was very smart spinning away from dance movies. She went with directors. They had a good round 1. They had a good round 2, I'm sorry. They gained 8 points, and Shirewolves were able to steal 1 point away. Shirewolves go up, they spin, they land on horror, they stick with it.
Clarke is so good at that, by the way.
You know, can we all just take a minute and appreciate Clarke Wolfe used to say fucking wheel.
In Will, and now the Will loves her.
And now it's the wheel just loves her. But you know what? I like, you know what? It's kind of like the Rocky and Creed of the Schmoedown. At one point, they were enemies, and now they're friends, and the wheel's going to help Clarke win titles. It's beautiful. And I was just watching Rocky 3, actually, before we recorded this, so... But I would have made that comparison regardless, because it's me and I live with Vinny.
Wait, does that mean they're going to have a fight behind closed doors when it's all said and done, too?
Oh, you bet. I mean, Clarke already did that before the Glow match. She was spinning the wheel. It was after hours.
Yep.
What I'm talking
There you
about,
go.
Willis. Wow, this is really off the rails, isn't it? Shirewolves perform extremely well. They gain 10 points. The round ends 24-17 in their favor. We go into round 3. Category is horror again. That wheel.
And Clarke spent it.
Shirewolves gain 2 points. Sick in the Head lose 1 point. It's okay. No one really likes to remember the Friday the 13th movies past part 4, so you're okay. We move on to round 4. Again, just talked about it with the Fife Club in the last one. The Fife Club are studying and practicing with the buzzers.
Mhm.
Sick in the Head, they were doing okay, but it wasn't enough to gain enough points to be able to survive to the next round. Shirewolves win the belts by knockout. Of course, going to post-match interviews, Sick in the Head, Brienne, you know, she talked about the dance movies. We already agree it was a good move. You know, she's also interested in possibly moving on with Brandon. Well, that's his name, right? We'll keep that in.
Ryan.
Ryan. You're new, sir. I apologize. It took me forever to remember like Clarke Wolfe's name and stuff. You're all new people to me. I do have to say though, Clarke Wolfe's speech got a tear in my eye. And that's not a lie. As someone who has been following her career since 2016, and she's been saying for so long she wants a belt, to finally see her get it was just because she's been so close. She's, to my knowledge, she's had 4 chances at the belt,
which they actually brought up in the post-credit.
Yeah, and it's just like, and now she has it, and I'm just so. Clarke is one of my favorite competitors, so I'm just beyond happy that she finally has this belt. I just, oh god, I'm not crying. Get your hand in the game, Troy. What? We also have. Let's also just take a minute to say to every mother effer out there on the Facebook page and on Twitter and the YouTube comments, like, we should totally have a female league. You know, like the women should be separated because it's 1991 or 1891 here, and they should all be separated. No, because women can be even better than the men. We have team champs, both women, who both kick ass and will likely kick the ass of whoever wins the Anarchy tournament, save for Mark Riley and Ben Bateman. But Clarke and Rachel, if you're watching this, I have total favoritism in that. I'll say that about any champs. Sorry. But, hey, Clarke, if it makes you feel better, Wolves Steel won the belts against Patriots. I'd be saying that about you now. Because you could still have the belts, of course, obviously. I just think that's such a great thing. You know, we talked about when Brienne won Free For All, that was the first time a female competitor had ever won an event or anything, and now we finally have the chance. And will it shut up the haters who need to get out of their mom's basements? Probably not. But, you know, at least we'll listen to them a little bit less, if we were listening to them at all. And to all you commenters who are going to come at me, in your face, I live in my mom's room, like my own room in her house, not in the basement, okay? And I even got a roommate, so suck it. I'm going to go to you first, Hunter. What are your thoughts on the title match?
Well, it was a great back-and-forth match, especially for someone who, like Brian, made his debut. He really held himself great in this team match, working off of Brienne. I actually really love the ending when the Shirewolves realize they win, and you see the reaction of Rachel. She's like, wait, what the hell is happening? We won the belt, and then you can kind of see her getting teared up a bit, and that's when I was like, oh, shit, knots in my throat.
Yeah, there was definitely watching the match. There was definitely, even for myself, where it was just like, I think even for them, I think it took them a second to realize the point differential and the fact that even if they carried it over into round 5, there was no way they could catch up. Like, yeah, definitely. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the championship match?
Hopefully, I hope this finally closed the book on everybody on Facebook that just did the whole but when it came to the Shirewolves, they didn't play anybody of any note, or it got everything. Hope that is all now out the window. I mean, you saw the performance. They scored 29 points in 4 rounds. They were on pace to shatter the team in a 5 or 3 round match. 89% accuracy rate. It didn't matter who they played. It didn't matter who was going up against them. We need to, the teams that they are playing are not up to snuff. Maybe they're just that damn good. Can we just finally admit one of the best teams and stop, downgrading the teams that they're playing? To me, it's that simple. I'm happy that Clarke and Rachel are in the champs. It's something I've been looking forward to, hoping and praying for. If you saw the reaction, you saw how happy I was. So, the Shirewolves are very worthy predecessors to the team championships. I think they can go on a very long run, and I'm looking forward to every single second of it.
Yeah,
that's not going to change anybody's mind, though, and it's the harsh reality of it.
Yeah, guys, stop downgrading Tom Dagnino. It makes it really hard as a supporter of his when you tell me constantly he doesn't know trivia. Just as mean. No, but seriously, yeah, guys, come on. Get off it. Isn't there anything else you can do? You have the whole of the internet, alright? You can type in stuff like, goat eats apple. And you'll find a video of a goat eating an apple. You can watch a video of a monkey peeing on a dude's motorcycle and him fighting the guy. Okay? By the way, Monkey totally won. Monkey totally won that fight. If you watch Clarke live, you know what I'm talking about. Like, this exists, guys. And you're using it to go on Twitter and to be like, oh, you know, the Shirewolves, they have not quite played teams up to snuff. For one, they played team action. Two, played against Tom Dagnino. And three, shut up! Malcolm, what are your thoughts on this championship match?
Yeah, this was a great match. I mean, and I think they could have easily, if they had a round 3, they could have beaten the record for most points scored in a title match quite easily. I mean, it's excluding the Iron Man match, obviously, but I mean, it's just one of those ones. And then the emotion they had in the interviews, it showed how much that it meant to them to get this victory. So, I mean, so it's just, they definitely showed that they deserved to be there. And they're actually at the point where above the line was when they won, because they're now currently 4-0. They're undefeated. So they could go on and beat the Patriots record. So, I mean, anything is possible.
Anything is possible, as we talked about earlier on in this video. I don't even know how this happened. We're going to go to an exclusive interview with the Shirewolves, the team champions Clarke, Wolfe, and Rachel Cushing. Let's check that out. All right, guys. I am here with, well, let's really just get down to it. Two of the all-time greats of the Schmoedown. You know, everyone has their goats. You have your Bibbianis, you have your Dan Murrows, your Sam Levines, your Mark Rileys, of course. But we have two actual, literal goats. We have the 2016 Rookie of the Year, Clarke Wolfe, the 2017 Rookie of the Year, Rachel Cushing, and the now, and I'm proud to say, team champions, the Shirewolves, Clarke Wolfe and Rachel Cushing. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So first thing, I have to say is just congratulations on the fantastic match and the win. You guys really deserved it. We saw your run up. Some people might disagree, but we don't have to get into for the trolls. We don't have to feed them, but really congrats on the win, guys.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, and it was a big day for us, and we're still sort of basking in that, and we really like carrying those things around, to be honest.
I bet. I was in the presence of the belts at Free for All, and I kind of wanted to steal one, but I knew Harlow would get mad at me. But getting into the prep, because one of the things about the Fife Club in general is you guys are maybe the best faction when it comes to preparing for the matches. I mean, we certainly saw that in the speed round of your title match, but you were in kind of a pickle, I would say, with Brienne's partner being a mystery. How did you guys prep for this match? Did you go in just prepping for Brienne? Did you go in prepping for who you thought could be her partner, like a Bibbiani or a Roca or something? Like, how did that affect your prep for this match?
Well, I would say we kind of prepped for each other. I mean, yes, you can prep as much as you can for your opponent. And we certainly were aware of what we perceived to be Brienne's strengths. But I would say for me, it was more of just making sure that we were the strongest possible players that we could possibly be. Because at the end of the day, we can't do anything about what our opponents can do. We can only do the best with what we have. So that was my approach to it.
Yeah, I was a little bit more panicky than Clarke was about this unknown factor. I was just like you said, there was no way to prep for, all right, with Brienne at the desk, we knew there was a very good chance, dance movies or musicals or 90s could come up. And so, might have did a little reading up on some of those films and watch a couple in, my blind spots. But with Brian, it was an unknown, and I know Brienne, and I know she's competitive, and I'm like, she's gonna bring in a big gun, like of course she is, but like we don't know what he's gonna be, and so I definitely was like, well, at the end of the day, like Clarke just said, there was nothing we could do about that. So rather than focus on that team, focus on ourselves and broadening our scopes and practicing with each other and working out our plan of attack and how we were going to play the game. Matt, we are so proud to be members of the Five Club. I mean, these guys are our friends, and we've gotten really close being a member of that faction. And we hang out all the time, and we study together and quiz each other together and practice with the buzzers together. And it's made a huge difference because it's nice to know somebody is in the trenches with you, not just Clarke who's at the table with me, but knowing that Emma and Mark are right there beyond the lights and the cameras with us too. All of that really combined to us feeling as confident as we could be going into that match.
Definitely. So, this is a movie trivia show. We all have, some of our favorite friendships and films. One of my favorites being Apollo Creed and Rocky, because they start off as enemies and are friends. So, Clarke, you spin horror in round 2 on the wheel, and we all love to remember when you used to say that fucking wheel. Is the wheel your friend now? Would you like to speak to your friend the wheel now? Has it changed with the new layout?
I don't want to jinx it, but I do. The wheel has been really good to me lately, so I really like the wheel now. I'm quite fond of the wheel. But that said, the wheel is a fickle friend. It's almost like a frenemy in a way. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I did used to say often that fucking wheel, and it's true, but new wheel has been nicer, and I like new wheel a little bit better, but there's a mutual respect, I think. So I have respect for new wheel, and hopefully new wheel has a respect for me. So
this is what I love about Clarke, Wolfe, and Rachel Cushing is when some guy on the internet asks them a question to personify a wheel, they're just like, oh, I'll just go with it. I'm not going to be like, oh, that's weird. Let's go to the real question. But speaking, so you guys are now the champs. So you do not have to compete in the Anarchy tournament. We want to take a second for our editor, Abe, who's very upset that he does not get to see his two favorites, Drew McQueen and Clarke Wolfe, as a team. But that leads into, what were your thoughts on your potential teammates? We know Rachel made a quick passing mention that not have to compete with Andrew Guy. What were your thoughts on competing with Drew McQueen and Andrew Guy, respectively, for both of you?
You go ahead, Clarke.
Okay, sure. Well, I was very excited to compete against Drew. I had only played against Drew once, and that was as part of the Wolves of Steel, and it was a very, very tight match. And we both teams really, really wanted to come out victorious. And Drew is one of, probably to me, Drew McQueen is maybe the most intimidating player playing right now. And so to team up with him was very interesting to me because that means I did not have to face him. So I was intrigued by it. But all of that being said, ultimately, of course, I didn't even want to get that far. I wanted to win and be in a circumstance where I didn't get that far because I had won with my partner, who is Rachel, and fortunately that is what happened.
Yes, I did take quite a shot at Andrew Guy in our post interview for similar reasons. Like, as interesting or possibly interesting as Anarchy could be, Clarke's my partner. Clarke was the partner I was always meant to have, and the Shirewolves is my team, and I wanted to stick with that, and I definitely wanted to win those belts so that we could sit back and watch everybody else have to maneuver this crazy, what's definitely going to be a crazy tournament. To break this whole kayfabe thing or whatnot, Andrew Guy is a friend, and I think he is a lovely human being, and he has proven by taking out the long considered best player in the league in a match of his life. So Andrew Guy would have been a very interesting player to play with. I have played against him a number of times in the team setting. My worry was that like he would spend so much energy on wanting to jump on the table and bang things with canes and you know, saunter around in his sunglasses that and I would be like, his mom being like, would you just sit down and answer the questions? Like I was worried about that sort of dynamic happening. But if it had gone that way, you know, he's a competitor and I'm a competitor, and we would have gone into that ring together to prove people wrong that we weren't like some cannon fodder team, that we would be a team to be reckoned with. But that's a what if alternate reality situation. So now Clarke and I just get to sit back, polish our belts, and watch the chaos ensue.
Definitely. Moving into the Anarchy tournament, of course, you guys have a hard challenge ahead because the GOAT Mark Riley is back to competing. And Clarke, you were members with Mark Riley in my former favorite team, the Wolves of Steel. Are you afraid of possibly having to face Mark your second time, but this time not as teammates? Are you afraid of that possibility?
I mean, no, I am not afraid. If anything, I am personally offended by the fact that of this betrayal. I mean, I echo what Rachel said. She is the partner that I have always been meant to have. But let us not forget that Mark Riley abandoned me, and I am like, yeah, I'm horrified that he is back and he's a bad guy now or whatever the hell is going on. I don't understand anything that is happening, but all I know is that I'm not afraid to face him. When I did face him one-on-one, it was a very close game, and I am, I think, a better player in terms of strategy and in terms of knowing like what I have at my disposal within the game. For instance, like there was a question with Riley that I felt like was an unfair question, unfairly worded question. And now knowing what I know, I probably would have challenged it. And, that match could have gone differently. That's the thing when you have a 1-point game, is that it's the little things that make that difference. So I am not afraid to face Mark Riley. I don't prefer to face Mark Riley, but I am not afraid. And if anything, he owes me an apology for being mean and breaking my heart, even though I have moved on to a better partner, or a better fit of a partner, I would say. But still, it's very rude. I don't appreciate it.
Well, wow, this is for Take 3 people. I apologize. This interview is over, considering Clarke Wolfe just kind of shat on Mark Riley here.
I did not shat on him. I just voiced my disapproval with his choices.
Okay. Well, I'm a biased fan, so you say voiced your opinion. I say you shat on him. Clarke is like, oh no, here goes Matt. Oh, I meant Chris is saying that, not Clarke. Clarke is like, who is this guy? I'm a huge Mark Riley fan. If you don't want her reaction, Rachel probably knows that. And she's like, oh, Matt's so happy. But we have a lot of you guys have a lot of great competition. Is there any team out of the Anarchy tournament, now we haven't seen them play yet, that you want to face? Like, do you want to take on John Roque and Damaro for the belts, or you kind of just, whoever comes to you, there's no one you want to face particularly?
Well, from day one, like after our very first match together, in our post interview, I said the thing that we had said when we had decided to team up, which is that we are of the mind that we will take on whoever is put in front of us. And that this game is a game that is, yes, based on skill in movie trivia, skill in playing the game and knowing the rules of the game, but it is also based on luck. And any given Sunday applies, which means any underdog team can beat any veteran, favored team. That's the point of the Schmoedown, because that's what makes it dramatic. That's what makes it fun. So you only have to look at like a Drew Guy, Dan Merle match to realize that, as much as people think teams are favored, one spin of the wheel and all of a sudden not so much. So, in terms of the personalities, yeah, there's a lot of veteran players that I haven't had a chance to go up against, and I would certainly love to. I'm not necessarily looking at any of those teams going, I want them. I just want to play and continue to prove that we've earned these belts and deserve these belts. So, you know, we will sit back and watch the tournament, and whoever shows up at Spectacular, Dan, Lon, JTE, some new person, McWeenie, whatever, we're going to defend our belts, and that'll be that.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That'll be that. So, you guys are two of the oldest competing competitors. Well, Clarke is since the beginning of 2016. As we saw in her very beautiful passion speech in her match yesterday, which literally brought a tear to my eye. I'm not lying. As someone who's been watching this Schmoedown since you first started your first match against Josh Kuga, to finally see you get your belt. So what are your guys' thoughts on how the Schmoedown has evolved and changed to where it is now from when you both respectively started?
I mean, I would just say that I feel like the game has changed a lot. I mean, it's not a completely different game, but in a lot of ways, when I started playing, we had different round one questions, meaning if you picked the wrong round one questions, you're screwed and you're at this like huge deficit, and it's almost impossible to come back from that. Like, I remember those days. And so the game has changed a lot, but I would say for the better. And I think that is thanks to all of the wonderful commissioners that we've had and the people who are sort of working tirelessly behind the scenes to not only make the game a better game, but a more fair game, and also a real showcase, you know, like really take our feedback into consideration. They do it sometimes at the expense of like us actually having to play and you know, have rules change because they go, okay, that wasn't fair. I feel like that has happened to me a handful of times, but still it's like they're constantly evolving the game. They constantly want to make it better. And the players, meaning that there's so many different kinds of players and so many different strengths and so many different backgrounds and people and types of people. I really am so impressed with how it's grown since I started playing, and I can't wait to see where it goes in the future.
Yeah, I would echo that, and just to add that what I've noticed, I've gone on record saying that, like, you know, as a fan of the show before I ever played on the show, I watched, you know, those really early matches, and I would not have done so well in those matches because those were a bunch of bro questions about bro movies, and it was kind of narrow. It was fun, it was silly, it was so entertaining. But what I love about the Schmoedown is that it's grown in scope in terms of the kinds of questions asked, the kind of categories. Like Clarke said, they have really done a lot of work to make it as fair and equitable as possible so that both competitors have the same chances at doing well, like the round one questions, but still keeping the drama of the matches with the wheel and the luck factor. So I feel like it's grown in scope so that it embraces all kinds of players and different kinds of movie knowledge, and I really appreciate that it's come a long way in that regard, so that, you know, anybody has a chance to win.
Definitely. And speaking of anyone having a chance to win, Rachel, this question is geared a little bit more to you, but of course, we now have seen Mara Knopik will be taking on Jason Inman at the live event. You are, of course, one of the best in Inner Geekdom, so who do you see possibly walking away with that belt at the live event?
That is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, as a championship should be, especially at a live event. I'm so excited for it. I've gotten to know Mara in the little time that she's joined the Schmoedown and taken it by storm, and she's a fighter, and she caught on quickly that she was good right out of the gate. But if you watch her matches, she's gotten better with every match because she realized she had to put in the work. She had to study. So she's at home. We just had dinner the other night, and she's like, I've watched this movie. I've rewatched this one. I've made these lists. I've memorized all the composers and the release dates. Like, she knows that that's what you have to do in the Inner Geekdom, and that the top players, we're not joking around. We're at home watching these movies over and over again and making notes and making sure that we can answer, these really deep cut questions. And Jason knows that. So to have two competitors that are that competitive and studying that hard and are preparing to be so ready that night, that I think it's going to be an incredibly close call. And as somebody who the live event lights and pressure and, liveness sort of got to a little bit, my guess is the winner is going to be the one that is least affected by all of that. But it really is anybody's game. I love you, Jason, but if another woman could hold a belt, that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
I think we all are, except for the Schmoedown fans who live in their mother's basement and Twitter's no interaction with other people. Yeah. But I want to just end with thanking you both so much for taking the time to be here. Congrats again on holding the title. Where can the good people find you guys online?
You guys can find me at Clarke Wolfe, Clarke with an E, Wolfe with an E on all of the things. And thank you so much for having us and for chatting with us. I really appreciate being here today, and we're very proud of everything. So thank you.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rachel J. Cushing. I'm always up for, the geeky movie discussions. And same, like you guys, the Reactors have really I've made the Schmoedown space an even wider space and a more fun space in the fact that we have such great fans, which sometimes, I personally have had a hard time. I see the negative and I forget that there's so much positivity in the fandom, and you guys are a leading light with that. So thank you. And thank you for having us on. And we'll see you soon.
All right. And we're going to throw it back to you guys on the summit. Thank you guys so much again for that. I apologize for probably mentioning Riley in an interview on multiple occasions. Clarke, probably. And, we know our own human faults, don't we? Before we get into next week's matches, let's go to my roommate that I was just speaking about, Vinny, with the fantasy update. Vinny, take it away.
What's up, guys? It's Vinny here for the fantasy update. So, in first place, we got Super Epic X Team with 650 points. In second place, got Immortan Gen Small Boys with 534 points. In third place, we got Team Gorgie with 540 points. In fourth place, we got the loser Matt with the Odie Alliance with 420 points. In fifth place, we got Chrissy at the Clarke with the Penguins with 347 points. And finally, we got Tiny Cats Evan DeGraff with 291 points. Okay, no one's trading, of course, or at least at the, no one's telling me, yeah, so that's it for your fantasy update. You can follow me, Vinny, at VinnyStallone76 on Twitter, okay? I'm going back to bed.
All right, thank you, Vinny. You're ever more articulate every day, ever since I got you How to Speak English 101. Better every day, buddy. So let's move on to next week's matches. This is just a weird week. We only got one, well, technically it's two matches, but it's in one video, of course. The Patreon exclusive video of John Roca and Ben Bateman. I said Patreon exclusive. A week early video that dropped the same day that the team title match did. Is airing, and it's attached to Matt Cruz versus Rosie Knight. Matt Cruz, of course, he's a fellow fan. Rosie Knight, we saw in the Air Geekdom tournament. What are your guys' thoughts? Well, let's do Cruz and Knight. Pretty much, are you guys supporting Rosie, or are you supporting your fellow fan? Because I know Rosie, we haven't seen her compete in regular movie trivia. Schmoedown, we've seen her in Air Geekdom, and Matt, we don't know how good he's going to do. Malcolm, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, well, Rosie and Matt is an interesting matchup, to say the least. I mean, like, we've only seen Rosie in a geek, so we don't quite know how she is in regular movies. So, I mean, and obviously, Matt wouldn't have got through to get that chance if he'd failed the audition. So, I mean, so there's could be something there, like Matt could pull an upset, or so we don't actually know.
Yes. Guys, by the way, to everyone who is like, oh, this Matt guy is obviously going to suck, because he's not a movie critic. Dude, do you think Christian Harloff is just sitting around? Is just like, hey, random person, you want to come and compete in the Schmoedown? Guys, there's a reason why Christian has never asked me or Clarke or Abe or any of us to compete in the Schmoedown. There's a pretty well, no.
I believe he doesn't know who I am.
He doesn't know who Abe is. That's his reason. But like, there's a reason why he watches my reactions and he's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Maybe it will. I don't know. Hashtag Kearns for Indiana Russell match. Bringing that hashtag back, everybody. It's gonna happen one day. In my dreams. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on this matchup between the Inner Geekdom heel and me fan?
Really interested. Not really sure what to expect from either one. We've seen that Cruz can cut a good promo, and so far that's about it. Rosie Knight, we've seen that she's good at niche categories, so yeah, I've got a dartboard over there. I can just go ahead and throw a dart at it right now. Maybe that'd be, but yeah, it's pretty much just a complete crapshoot right now. I would probably think. What now?
Oh, I was just saying, can you throw a dart? I just want to start taking bets on where you could land it. Like, I say he's like 3 off from the bullseye. Nah, I say misses the board completely. We're just off the rails here anyway. Let's just start throwing darts at a board. Hunter, what are your thoughts on this?
Again, as everyone said, it's a very interesting matchup because you have somebody who we have seen before, but have seen in the Inner Geekdom division, and someone we haven't seen at all. I'm kind of someone who will always support when fans get to attend the Schmoedown and play in it. I'll be supporting them until I see them play, because that's cool for me. Because as someone who is a reactor, someone who has played in these trivia leagues down here, it's nice to see one of us move up to the big leagues.
I'm just waiting for him to be like, as a reactor myself, if someone competes with some of my trivia leagues, Christian Harloff, I'm just saying. Links in the comments below.
Yeah.
I'm available.
By the way, I'm not that good, so I wouldn't make it anyway.
I just, the way you say it, no, it's just the inflection. Kind of like, I'm a reactor. I compete in trivia leagues. I'm just saying, I didn't see Cruz react during videos.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Christian is like,
well, I mean, we can use Chance Ellison as an example.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He was on Late to Party Reactions.
And they competed to fan leagues.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Christian, seriously, come on. Kearns for Indiana Jones Russell match. Hashtag Kearns for life. Felt like Emma Fife. We'll get to that in a little bit, guys. Speaking of that, actually, we also have John Roca versus Ben Bateman, the continuing saga of the Horsemen versus Team Action. Man, this is going to be a good match. Like, this is going to be. I'm taking over the. I mean, someone who is lucky enough to know both of these guys fairly personally, they're both great guys, but I think when they get to the Schmoedown, they both hate each other. I mean, Roca has said he smacked Bateman in the nuts at Spectacular too. Like, that happened before their match. That happened. And, my God. And Ben Bateman, I mean, Team Action is one of the greatest, like, get-in-your-head teams and singles competitors. And we have seen Roca in the past. He's been riled up by people like that. So it's going to be interesting to see if Roca is going to be able to prevent that. Because we saw with Scott Mance. Scott Mance was also someone who is... I'm not going to say that Roca is as easily riled up as a Mance, but we did see when Mance didn't have an inman to sort of keep him grounded and keep him cool, he lost. Which, by the way, movie release dates better be in this match. We need to see Ben's face on that wheel slice. We need that to happen. Yep. Jeremy, if you could just sponsor a wheel slice or something for that, you could make that happen. That would be wonderful. I'm actually going to go to you first, Jeremy. What are your thoughts on Roca versus Bateman?
Well, sorry, Matt. Late. I've already had my wheel slice done for this a month, so you're SOL on that one. So as far as the
Darn it.
it's hard. I'm probably gonna for the moment because he's stepped up in the big matches like players. Bateman, he's had good matches. His biggest you could say was Mark Andreyko. He did. I would consider Roca about a level player as Mark, so probably going to lean towards Roca. Right? It can. I mean, one bad category can spell the doom for both. Really good comes out on top, especially with the added stipulation potential #1 contendership, especially if Bateman win. Play either his team action partner Andrew Guy, upcoming team partner Indiana, maybe just for shits and Bateman, but everything plays out.
Okay, was Jeremy cutting out for anyone else or just me?
Yeah, it was cutting out.
Because you cut out, and it sounded like you said, Bateman, shit the root. We'll see what happens. I was like, all right, cool. Malcolm, we're going to go to you. Shit the root, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going with John Roca on this, because just because I kind of like to see a Roca Riley, another Roca Riley match again, and potentially a Roca Bibbs match would be fun to watch.
It's true. Hunter, who do you have winning this match?
Oh, it's obvious. I have Ben winning. Team Action is going to kick everyone's ass. Simple as that. Where's the belts?
Thank you. A smart, civilized, classy gentleman here. I mean, guys, listen, I like John Roca, but he's like his stand-up routine. He's good for about 2 minutes, and then you're kind of just waiting for the next guy to come along. I'm kidding. John Roca is fantastic stand-up, by the way, I have to say. Saw him at Comic-Con. He was great. No, I'm supporting Ben just as Team Action, but this is going to be like a really great match, I can already tell. And again, we just have that Tuesday is just vacant. I don't know. I guess I couldn't get matches filmed or whatever. So there's nothing happening. There is no match that is really difficult for me to choose. There's no Sophie's Choice happening. And no, you're not going to get me to choose. I don't care. Clarke and Harloff and Thad. I don't care. There's nothing happening on Tuesday, all right? We're just going to leave it at that. But hypothetically speaking, Hunter, if Mark Riley was returned to singles competition and was playing against Andrew Guy, who do you think would walk away with the victory? Hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically speaking. You guys know my answer. I'm going Andrew Guy. Team Action, baby. I mean, is there any other choice? The man who beat the GOAT. Come on.
Well, technically he didn't play the GOAT. Hypothetically, if this match happened, he would play the GOAT. Hypothetically, again, Jeremy, hypothetically speaking, if this match was going to happen, who would you hypothetically have winning? Hypothetically. Tough decision. All right, that's fine. It's a hypothetical match. You don't have to have an answer. Malcolm, hypothetically speaking, who would you rather choose? The GOAT or the guy who I bought at you during Collision Reaction? Hypothetically.
Well, I'm not playing this game because Mark Riley will beat Andrew Guy.
Hypothetically, if this match is happening. But continue.
Because, I mean... but yeah, Mark Riley is a pretty good player. And I think
he is pretty. That hair, though, Malcolm. I know. We all want it. We all want it. All right? We all do. Hypothetically speaking. Well, actually, that's not hypothetical. Who doesn't like Alizé? It's not hypothetical at all. Hypothetically, though, this match happening, no, I know what you're all thinking. Matt, hypothetically speaking, if on Tuesday, hypothetically, this match was happening, you were forced at point of, working on this channel that you had to be on Reaction, who would you choose? Well, thank God this is a hypothetical thing. Since like the SATs, I could just skip a question and get no punishment whatsoever. So that is it. We have nothing else to talk about. There were no cold openings. There were no post-credit scenes. Kalinowski is not pulling strings. He's probably taking a chill until the Anarchy tournament starts. So I want to just thank my panel. We'll go first to Hunter. Where can the good people find you, buddy?
You guys can find me over at my YouTube channel, Film Nerd TV, over here on Take 3, doing a lot of videos whenever I'm needed, and over at Multiplex Entertainment, playing a whole bunch of trivia.
Jeremy, the king of the gifts. Where can the good people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at WWJTH1. You can see my own personal JTH Reacts on my YouTube channel. And you can potentially find me at September 8th, perhaps if I sit behind late to the party, but that remains to be seen.
Malcolm, where can good people find you online?
You can find me on Tape 3 Productions hosting hosting Rankum, and this yesterday was Lost Characters. And also you can find me competing in trivia in the fan leagues, and on all over the place.
All over the place. Yes, you are, sir. You guys, of course, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMoves611 on YouTube, right here as the intermediate host of the Summit. You can also find me on Collider's podcast channel. Recently, Frank Janish took on Chris Liskey in a Schmoedown history match, and I was part of the undercard Fatal 4-Way match against Albert, Jawa, a fellow Reactor, Evan DeGraff, a fellow something, and Tim Smim, who I don't think he's ever done reactions. He might have done a reaction for us. I don't know. He watches the Schmoedown.
He's done a couple of reactions for us.
Yeah, of course he has. But of course, guys, it's me. Come on. Just you don't even have to watch the match. I mean, although you should, because there might be something pretty freaking cool that happens during the promos. I'm just saying, #Kearns for life. And you can maybe find me, hypothetically, being forced to pick babies if Thad and company want to really just, if they really, hypothetically,